You're listening to Business Podcasting Made Easy, the Influencers Formula, where you get a roadmap to instant authority and thought leadership with a podcast that you're proud of. You're listening to it either on the IBGR network or on our podcast playlist page at influencersformula.com. This is episode 34, and today we're talking about Amplify by guest blogging. I'm Donna Cundy, co-founder of the IBGR Network, global radio authority, podcast expert, and producer of over 14,000 podcasts.
And I'm Ben Joya, three-time international best-selling author with teachings that reach more than 50,000 people worldwide, thanks to leveraging my books. And we're here to help you get your podcast done 13 minutes at a time in just 13 weeks. And hey, you may have heard us say this before, and if you haven't, here's a really wonderful thing. You get your podcast done, you have 80% of your book done already. So, what? Right? So remember that you can easily follow the plan with us at influencersformula.com, 13 minutes at a time. And like Donna said, if you want direct live support, go to ibgr.info. And our friend Craig Fifield, Craig, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name. Almost everybody gets my last name wrong, so I get it. Don't worry about getting famous. Worry about providing a useful post to the audience of the blog, right? And this is all about becoming a person worth listening to. You might have heard us say that, 33 times now?
Yeah,
34 episodes, right? Become a person worth listening to by remembering the power of leveraging other people's audiences. And that's why you want to guest blog.
Thank you for saying that, because it is about leverage, and it ties into the quote, because it's not about becoming famous. This is an idea that you want to be able to serve a new audience. And the way to do that is to look at your power partners, your alliances. We've had you reach out on direct message several times to potential clients and alliances, to potential sponsors and advertisers. And if they have a blog, reach out again. You don't build a relationship in one conversation. Right. You build a relationship over time because you add value to them and you provide value by what you do. And so that's what we're talking about here, that, almost everyone wants relevant content, even big bloggers. they look for other people's content to come on there, so they look for relevant content that they don't have to create and that serves their audience. And you, by positioning yourself as the likable expert, as the humble authority, have this opportunity that is wide open for you.
Yeah, beautifully said. And in case you haven't listened to the previous episode, make sure you listen to the previous episode, right? Because you want to follow a lot of the same methodology around creating a blog post, right? It's just, this is a blog post that's going on somebody else's site, right? So what's going to be valuable for that audience, right? What episode of yours is going to be relevant for those people, right? And then how do you take those show notes, use them as the outline, and then very, very easily create a blog for somebody else, right? So borrow their audiences and do it by dint of leveraging your own content, right? Because you've done the heavy lifting, you've done the work. Now just, repurpose, refine, redefine as appropriate, and and allow the magic to happen.
Yes, and you're writing your blog post because you've listened to the last episode and you've taken action because we told you to go write a blog post. You can use the same blog post when you change the wording to fit the new audience. Change the story to fit the new audience. Just change the examples to fit the new audience. But the meat and potatoes of your show notes framework is already there. That doesn't change.
Yeah, Donna, I appreciate you saying that. I mean, you can literally show someone, a potential partner, something you've published already and say, hey, I could do a version of this, for your blog or whatever the case may be. I mean, I remember my very first business coach saying to me, he's like, you might have 3 relevant audiences for your content for a certain piece of content, 80% of that content is going to be the same for those three different audiences, right? Just modify that 20% to make it specific to one, and then specific to the other, and then specific to the third, right? So this kind of stuff is what we're all about, about creating stellar, valuable content and then leveraging the heck out of it, right? So if you haven't been following the roadmap, be sure to subscribe at influencersformula.com. And if you want direct support from us for your very own business podcast, and chances are you want your very own business podcast, then contact us today at ibgr.info. So Donna, what would you tell folks that they need to do now that they've either written or identified that blog post already?
Thanks for that question, Ben. I would say think again about influencers, contacts, your extended networks. Think we've had you make lists along the way. I'd say look at the list again and then go large. You go to McDonald's and you say, I want a medium fry. Would you like to upsize that? You want to go large? Go large here. Because you have been flexing those influencer muscles in such a way that you're starting to get seen. You're starting to have the content out there that I would be surprised at this point if people aren't reaching out to you to want to get on there. But think about the influencers, and don't be afraid to go with the big ones. Don't be afraid to go with those bigger names and reach out and ask, what could they say? No is not a no. It's a not now usually.
Exactly. Yeah. And was it last week, I think, or one of these weeks, or, maybe I've said it twice now, but that wonderful abbreviation from Jack Canfield, right? SW, right? Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting, right? So reach out to the people. I mean, I remember, Donna, I've been in business for 13 years now, all of a sudden, right? And I remember the first several years of, really knowing so little about what the heck that I was doing, right? Like, I mean, I knew enough to offer some level of value, and I knew that, but there were so many things I didn't know. But the things that I thought I didn't know were so much bigger in my mind and so much more vast in my mind than they were to everybody else's. And I remember going to one of my first live, big live events where I was networking with a bunch of people, in and among the trainings. And oh gosh, I can't even remember the person's name, but it was somebody who was clearly a big deal. Mm-hmm. Right, in their industry, a BFD, right? What does that mean? Not in their ego, but in their impact and in their audience size. And at that point, my business used to be called Marketing with a Heart, and that was the name of my first book. And this person said to me, "Well, what do you do?" And I said, "I have this book in business called Marketing with a Heart." And instantly, this person said, "Hey, I want to have you on my show. I want to interview you for my show." At that point, what did I have? Like 196 people on my email list, right? No social media following to speak of, right? Totally bootstrapping, right? Doing catering gigs at night, right? To make my business happen. And yet, here's this BFD kind of person, right? Who said, "Hey, come on to my show." So do not ask, right? So yes, ask. Really, really important.
Thank you so much for saying that. I'm going off script, and this is never a good thing, but there's a quote that says, I think we think well of ourselves only in rare instances. We need others to basically to tell us that we're a big deal. And I believe that's true, that people, influencers, BFDs, the people whose blog you want to be on, they'll see your brilliance, even if you don't. You just have to give them the opportunity to see it.
Exactly.
Reach out and have that conversation, because you are brilliant at this point. At this point, you were brilliant before, but I believe every one of us is gifted with that. And because our listeners are taking they're taking the journey with us in order to become that thought leader, in order to become that influencer, be seen, be heard, be connecting. This is that opportunity for you right now to get out there and do it.
Exactly, exactly. And, we've just been speaking for a moment about, the big deal kind of people, right? Like you don't have to just reach out to them, right? So think about influencers that or influencers that people in your network know, just like Donna was saying earlier. Think about your contacts, your extended networks, right? Who would love to have your content, right? Who loves your stuff? Who loves your approach, right? And just think about like if there's, somebody who's offering a particular something to their audience and you can complement, not compliment, but complement that content, like that is some of the greatest service that you can offer them, because that might not be in their zone of genius to teach or offer, right? That'll save them from potentially having to underserve their audience, right? Or go have to, find somebody else to make it happen. And lo and behold, you've shown up at that perfect time and space and said, hey, right, this is what I can do. What do you think about that? And they'll tell you, right? So
Yeah.
we'll do that. So Donna, what would you say to the folks who are listening, how to take action?
I would say brainstorm and update your list for sure, and then reach out. And I would also suggest go back and refer to episodes 25 and 28 that we've already produced. When you go back to 25 and 28, it will talk about the reaching out and the influencer. Those are the good ones to go back for creating those lists and doing all that reach out. So do the thing, take the action, and talk to the people.
Exactly. Do the thing, take the action, talk to the people. Subscribe to the show at influencersformula.com. If you have not, reach out to us for direct support, right? Because, yes, you can do this by yourself and we give you the roadmap, and why not get there so much more easily, faster, better by, inviting the brain trust, into the mix for your business and the impact you want to make.
Yes, absolutely. And this is going to wrap up episode 34 on Business Podcasting Made Easy, the Influencers Formula, Amplify by Guest Blogging. We're broadcasting live on the IBGR network. I'm Donna Cundy.
And I'm Ben Joya. We'll be right back after a short break. Thank you so much for listening.